My name is Myra Sterling. I'm 32 years old, and last week my mother stood at my sister's rehearsal dinner and told 80 guests something that changed everything. I wasn't her real daughter. She said it with a smile, her polished voice smooth and warm, as if it were the most natural announcement. Diane Sterling, my mother, had spent decades building an image of perfection, and now, in one sentence, she stripped me of that illusion in front of the entire room. Then she added the part that really hurt. The wedding she and Dad were paying for, the one they claimed came from their savings, it had been my money for 10 years. The room froze. 80 faces turned toward me, judging, whispering. My chest felt like it was caving in, pressed down by their pity. And yet, I smiled, not with relief, not with joy, but because I knew something no one else did. 3 words later, my mother's face went white. Before I tell you what happened, let me take you back 10 years to the day it all began. I was 22, fresh out of college, and terrified of the future. I had an accounting degree and an entry-level job that barely paid my rent. My family seemed perfect. Dad, Richard Sterling, a sales director for 20 years. Mom, Diane Sterling, a homemaker obsessed with appearances. Chloe, my younger sister, 18, effortlessly charming, everything I wasn't. Favoritism wasn't subtle. It was baked into the very fabric of our family life. My role was clear: be steady, reliable, invisible. When I graduated, they threw me a tiny dinner, 5 people, including my parents and Chloe. Mom said, "You don't like crowds anyway, Myra." I nodded. I didn't argue. I rarely did. 2 months later, Chloe got into a prestigious East Coast university. They rented a restaurant, invited 50 guests, had a 3-tier cake, photographers, a string quartet. Dad gave a long, proud speech. I clapped in the corner. "Chloe needs encouragement," Mom said when I asked why she'd celebrated differently. "You've always been able to take care of yourself." I told myself she was right. I was the older daughter, steady, reliable, invisible. That was my role. A week before the phone call that would change my life, I visited home for Sunday dinner. I overheard them whispering in the kitchen. "We need to buy Chloe a car," Mom said. "She can't be taking buses. What would people think?" I thought about my own commute. 2 hours on public transit, crowded buses, late-night walks home. No one ever worried about me. I stayed silent, swallowed the frustration, kept the peace. Thursday night, 11 p.m., my phone rang. Dad's number. "Myra, I need to talk to you," he said, voice small, almost trembling. "But you can't tell anyone, especially not Chloe." A man who had always lectured me about responsibility was begging for help. My chest tightened. I asked, "What do you need?" He admitted, "I lost my job 3 weeks ago. The retirement fund, it's almost gone. Bad investments." The next day, Mom called, voice thick with stress. "We shouldn't ask, but you're the only one who can help. Chloe's still in school. No one can know." I was making $52,000 a year. They wanted $2,500 a month. I said yes. It was supposed to be temporary. Over 10 years, I worked 60-hour weeks. I climbed the corporate ladder: junior accountant, senior accountant, accounting manager, CFO of a mid-sized pharmaceutical company. Every promotion meant a bigger paycheck and a bigger automatic transfer to my parents. My apartment remained the same tiny studio. No vacations, no furniture upgrades, no indulgences. $336,000 over 10 years. My 20s spent buying my parents' security while they erased me from the family photo. Not once did they say thank you. Not once. Then Chloe got engaged. Mom called, bubbling with excitement. "We're going to throw her the most beautiful wedding. My father and I will pay for everything." $80,000. That's nearly 3 years of my transfers. My stomach dropped. I confronted my parents. Dad laughed bitterly. Money is easy. Being a daughter is harder. It wasn't enough. I needed the truth. I contacted Marcus Webb, the family financial advisor. Over 10 years, I had all the records: bank confirmations, receipts, emails of every transfer. I forwarded them to Marcus, backed them up to 3 cloud services, printed the first and last pages. Daniel, my boyfriend, found me at 2 a.m., surrounded by papers. "What are you planning?" "I don't know yet, but I'm done being invisible." Aunt Patricia, my mother's older sister, became my ally. She had seen the favoritism for decades. I see you, she told me. Whatever happens at that dinner, I'm in your corner. Her support gave me courage. For the first time in years, I felt seen. The Riverside Country Club glittered, crystal chandeliers, fresh pianists, elegant champagne flutes. I walked in with Daniel, calm, calculated. Marcus and Aunt Patricia were my anchors. Mom began her speech. We've taken care of everything. Our daughter deserves nothing but the best, and our real daughter deserves it most. Silence. 80 eyes turned toward me. Whispers started. Pity pressed against my chest. I smiled, steady, controlled. I raised my glass. Thank you, Mom, for that memorable toast. I especially appreciate being called not your real daughter in front of everyone. I'd like to clarify one small detail. I gestured to Marcus. Mr. Webb, can you confirm who has been the primary contributor to my parents' retirement fund for the past 10 years? Marcus spoke. The room went silent. Over the past decade, Myra Sterling has transferred approximately $336,000 into her parents' retirement fund. That fund, currently around $280,000 after withdrawals, is almost entirely from her contributions. Gasps. My mother's face went pale. I have 3 words for you, I said. I'm stopping payments. Shock. My father's glass shattered on the floor. You can't do this. Yes, I can, I said. No contract, no obligation. I choose myself. Aunt Patricia and Daniel stood by me. The room absorbed the reality of a decade of deception and silence broken. The wedding was scaled down. Brad's family quietly covered the difference. Chloe began to understand. She called me, tearful. I never knew. I should have asked. 3 months later, I opened my own savings account. For the first time in 10 years, money stayed with me. Daniel and I looked at apartments together, finally planning a future. Therapy helped me unpack 32 years of invisibility. I learned about my fawn response and why I gave endlessly, hoping to earn love. Aunt Patricia became my chosen family, a voice of reassurance. I realized my parents' failure was not mine. My sacrifices were generous, but for the wrong people. Today, I am Myra, 32, finally living for myself. Chloe and I are closer. Daniel and I are building a life together. I'm seen. I'm valued. I'm enough. I cannot earn love from those who do not know how to give it, but I can give it to myself. Looking back, the hardest lessons were these. Your worth isn't measured by your sacrifices. Silence isn't peace. It can be a cage. Love doesn't have to be transactional. I had spent a decade believing that giving more would earn me love. It didn't. It only built resentment and invisibility. Now, every day, I choose myself. I invest in my life, my happiness, my relationships. Daniel and I laugh over tiny apartment mishaps, celebrate small victories, and plan big dreams. Chloe and I share our secrets, our fears, and our dreams. She finally understands the cost I paid, and for the first time, our bond feels real. My parents? I love them in theory, but I no longer exist to fix their problems. They learned, painfully, that their actions have consequences. People aren't usually villains. They are shaped by fear, insecurity, and their own wounds. My father, once a proud provider, couldn't handle dependence. My mother, obsessed with image, denied reality. Their cruelty wasn't personal. It was habitual, a survival mechanism I mistook for rejection. I spent 10 years trying to fix what was never mine to fix. I was terrified of being unlovable, so I made myself indispensable. That was my mistake. Now, I am enough. I don't need validation from those who never gave it. I don't need to erase myself to make others feel secure. I live in my truth. I speak my mind. I protect my boundaries. And for the first time, I can say, I matter.